You are listening to A One Pint Stand, a Minnesota craft beer podcast that tells the stories of craft beer in Minnesota and beyond. So kick back, relax, and grab a cold one. The show starts now. Hello and happy holidays. My name is Dan Bobian, and I write, produce, and host A One Pint Stand. I am ecstatic that you're listening. This podcast has been a passion project of mine since 2016. This particular episode is a slight departure from the usual craft beer chat because we're going to be talking about bourbon. And I'm so excited because I am getting into bourbon, and it is a wonderfully mysterious brown liquid that I know very little about. So I thought, who better to sit down with and chat about bourbon than the gentleman behind Shorewood Liquors out in Shorewood, Minnesota, Stephen Shackleton, the owner, and Craig Schmidt, the gent who is in charge of their craft beer there, had me out, and I was privy to a masterclass on the brown spirit that many people are gaga for. Since this is the holiday season, I figured I would do my part to aid those of you looking to buy a special bottle or two for that bourbon fanatic on your shopping list. You are going to learn so much that your brains are going to hurt, and that is a good thing. So, enough about me rambling on. Let's head out to Shorewood Liquors to talk bourbon. Cheers. Welcome to another on-location episode of A One Pint Stand. My name is Dan Bobian, and this is this particular episode. It takes place. We're out here out in the Western Burbs here at Shorewood Liquors. So I drove through Shorewood, and then there's another town. Are we actually in Excelsior? What city am I in?
That's kind of funny. So because we are basically a resort town kind of area, that's what we kind of started out as. Because of the lake and everything like that, the cities kind of intertwine, and there's so many. There's Greenwood, Excelsior, Chanhasten's across the road.
Oh, okay.
If you go to our east, you have Excelsior, and then you have Greenwood. If you cross the road to the south, you're back into Shorewood.
Okay.
And South Minnetonka.
You got Tonka Bay, all these little communities that are basically our customers, our friends, everything like that. But it's definitely a weave-in and out to get to Shorewood, to actually get to Shorewood Liquor.
Okay. And I guess I should have said this right away, but I'm being joined by Craig and Stephen, the owners of this wonderful establishment. Stephen is the owner of the Shorewood Liquors, and we're gonna talk a lot about bourbon. And I think that's this episode will help people find the perfect gift for that person on your wish list who really likes bourbon. And we're also going to learn quite a bit about this wonderful spirit. Why don't each of you introduce yourself if you want to talk about what got you into the beverage industry, and how did you come to own this liquor store, and how did you establish it as one of the well-known places to go to buy bourbon and get quality education about this spirit that is pretty complex.
Stephen Shackleton, I'm the owner of Shorewood Liquor. 16 years ago, a little over a month ago, looking for a business to purchase, but had a passion for the spirits and a passion for bourbons, and an opportunity came along, and it was a muni. So jumped at the opportunity to purchase a liquor store and kind of make it my own, so to speak, and make it into a bourbon destination store, high-end spirit destination store when Craig Schmidt came on a couple years after and took over the beer barn and made it another destination store for craft brews. And so we've been ongoing with that and both have a passion for what we do, and it really shows within the store and with our customer base as well.
Okay. How about you, Craig?
My story is a little different. Coming from rural Minnesota, kind of where I grew up, there wasn't a lot of opportunity for any of this, kind of stuff. So I was in the restaurant industry from when I was 14 years old. working anything from a pizza place to bartending in college. Working at I went to school for culinary arts. Did a bunch of that. Started catering. After catering, I got into DJing, and DJing allowed me the time to actually get something fun to do on the side. And then I lived in Excelsior for a little bit, and I would shop at Shorewood.
Okay.
And I basically made fun of Stephen for his beer selection over here. And kind of went back and forth jokingly, and I had a job 1 day a week over here, and kind of built it from that.
Okay.
Spirits-wise, we obviously love Bourbon's Rise. Basically everything in the store, brown spirit-wise. Kind of let Stephen run the show on that side of it. But have a great community out here, and just try to make sure that everybody is incorporated into the store and not just selling a product to somebody. I'm going to sell you a whiskey, cool.
Yeah.
Try to make it more of like a community effort.
Okay, interesting. I think that, not every liquor store is the same, and I think you hit on something right there, is wanting it to be a positive experience. And I think whether you're talking about bourbon or craft beer or wine even, there's a certain level of intimidation, I think, when it comes to shopping for things that you really don't maybe know too much about. And if you walk into a place and either nobody helps you or they don't help you in a very good way where you feel kind of like an idiot, you're not very likely to come back.
What we do here, there's a lot of times, and pretty much with all the customers, no matter what they're looking for, is the first thing I always ask is, what are you looking for? And if they respond to a bourbon or rye and or tequila, no matter what it may be, it's like, how are you drinking it? So we have a plan on what they're doing with the spirit. Then I ask them, what is their history? What do you like? So then I really dive into the person as well, as much as I possibly can. It's not just upselling. There's no really upselling that we do here. It's more or less getting to know the customer than actually downselling it. Hey, you don't have to buy that $80 bottle. You can buy this $40 bottle if you're just mixing cocktails and stuff like that. So explaining a tier system when it comes to spirits, there's drinking it neat and there's drinking cocktails. And so there's really a 2-tier system and sometimes a 3-tier system when it comes to some personal bars at home. There's a cocktail bourbon, a cocktail rye, and there's also sipping ryes. But when it comes to sipping ryes, it's a matter of personal preference and what they like. So try to get the history of the customer and what they like. Then you can really pinpoint on their flavor profile, and then really can pinpoint on what kind of cocktails that they're making, and get them the best value. Yeah. We do that with wine as well, and Craig could probably say the same thing about the beer end of it, trying to find out what the customer is really looking for. He always asks, what do you have? What have you had? And then he can really dive into something new that he can really expand upon, or, lateral, you have to really try this, it's really hard to get, and so forth and so on.
I think I love it when I walk into a place and I feel like they kind of understand where I'm coming from kind of like a palate preference or flavor preference. I encounter that with a lot of breweries, but I don't have that familiarity with any liquor stores for my bourbon selection, which now I kind of wish I lived closer. I live way east in St. Paul, so I think that's really important. Where did the motivation for taking that extra time come from?
I think it came a lot from the diversity of the spirit itself. So when I first opened up 16 plus years ago, turned it into a bourbon destination store, more of a high spirit destination store based on our demographics and community. There's so many different things, so many different flavor profiles. It's not necessarily just grabbing what's the most expensive or grabbing what the commercialization is telling you to buy, because it doesn't make you're just basically talking yourself into liking it. because of review, because of what you've read. It doesn't mean that you're actually going to like it. So I start from the basic beginning with somebody and say, what have you liked? What did you like? What is your favorite? What is your go-to? Then if you want to indulge yourself and buy an expensive bottle for a special occasion or just sipping purposes, something nice on your bar, then I can pinpoint that flavor profile that I want to know for sure that you will like it and really appreciate it. Because there's diversity of different flavor profiles, just like beer, wine, and everything else. There are different flavor profiles when it comes to bourbons. One of the first things I thought to myself when I bought the liquor store was like bourbon. Let's just concentrate on bourbons and nice spirits and and diversify that way. And the products are out there because nobody else is buying them at the time. No other liquor stores are buying them at the time. So we had a wealth of inventory. Then we started buying private barrels as well, then really diving into that realm.
Okay.
So,
is it, from your standpoint, what's the easier conversation to have? Trying to point kind of a seasoned bourbon drinker, and I guess you can speak to this from craft beer too, Craig. If somebody really knows what they like, is that easier, or is it an easier conversation to try to give somebody like, all right, you like beer, like a lot of breweries have at least one beer on their menu, like a cream ale or like a light lager that's kind of a gateway beer. Is there like such a thing as a gateway bourbon?
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
And I think we all experienced that when we were younger. When we first started drinking at such a younger age, we had that opportunity, or, okay, I'm going to drink whiskey. For me, trying Jack Daniels for the first time at 19 years old when I was legal drinking.
For the first time?
Yes.
Yeah, legal drinking age at 19. Then experiencing that, then that kind of like got me hooked on the whiskey and bourbon area, and I hung on to it ever since.
Okay.
Like having a beer here, having a wine here, and Mike's working for restaurants when I was 20 and stuff like that, expanding on wine and stuff like that. But I always went back to bourbons, always went back to whiskeys.
Okay. And go ahead.
I think it's more or less, it's easier to get somebody into something as a general aspect than it is to convince somebody who's already in the industry or already used to everything. So to mold somebody's palate with them, I think is quite a bit easier. That's why I think it's actually great that a lot of the beer geeks and the beer, I don't know what we call ourselves anymore, but
beer enthusiasts.
Yeah. I think it's easier to mold that from the beginning than it is to when somebody's like, oh, I like cast strength rye, whatever. But that's come over several decades. Where if somebody already goes, hey, this is what I like these mash bills, I like this kind of whatever, it's harder to convince that person because they've probably been burnt many times by other stores, not going to name names, but where they say, this is as good as what you're drinking, try it, it's different, whatever, and then they bring it home and it's just a garbage product. It's not anything that, they're just trying to offload it on somebody, where I think the more experienced person, once they get burned a couple times, they're just done with. They're like, nope, I'm sticking with these 3 whiskeys. This is all I'm buying. Where not a younger person, but more younger into the game.
Sure.
You can kind of mold their palate with them, just so they're educating themselves as you try to educate them on the product. And they're learning about their palate. They're learning about different tasty notes, how to drink whiskey, how not to drink whiskey. How not to drink whiskey, I think, is a little more important. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people just put a bunch of crappy ice cubes in a glass and they douse whatever they have in there. They've never tried the thing before and they slam it down. Oh, that was really good.
Yeah.
Well, see, adding on to that is there's so many entry-level whiskeys that are right there on the shelf. So a lot of times if you're a novice in the very beginning drinking, I always tell them, just don't overthink it. Trust your palate to what you like. So I'll go sideways on the shelf before I go upwards on the shelf. Stick with a price point that eliminates their mistakes. On price point.
Yeah.
So here's a good value, here's a good value, here's a good value. This is the flavor profile. This one, This is the flavor profile on that one. You can mix. You're going to drink it with ice and Coke. Don't think about it. Go to the bottom shelf and grab yourself anything that's down there because you're not going to really taste the whiskey. But if you're just going to do ice cubes and just jumping into it, there's certain ones that really will stand out as the standards that you can really rely on. So there's a wealth of whiskeys there, and I always tell people, it's like, don't, just be patient. You find your palate. Then the more experienced drinkers, that's when they know their palate and they know what they like, and they have their go-tos already. Then if they want to diversify and go sideways or up on the ladder, so to speak, on the price points, that's where I can help them as well. And it's like, hey, you like this, you'll definitely like this. I'm just walking into the craft beer world. It's like, ooh.
Oh, it's so
intimidating.
That's
what I mean? See? That's what I mean.
What do you do?
I thought it was intimidating 15 years ago.
You walk into, that's,
you
walk into a store and they're having, we're not there, obviously. I don't want to get there, but they have, 30 doors of high-end craft beer.
Oh, yeah.
And then what is it?
Yeah.
What does it taste like?
Yeah.
Where is it from? Like, there's, how old is it? Like, there's a lot of different questions about all these things. And I think a lot of times, that's why I like to overstaff here, too, because it's good to have that person that's available. Say we don't need it one day. And then, we overstaff. We can clean the store. We can do whatever.
Sure.
You understaff it one day, and you might get somebody totally new into whatever realm of the store, and now there's not that person to talk to.
Right.
You have to talk to them and explain, why don't I want this? I'm looking at this $200 bottle of whiskey, and I've had Jim Beam, and that's it.
Right.
But, a lot of people are like that.
Sure.
You get told, this is what's good, this is what you should be drinking online. You got all the reviewers, all the, things like that.
Same with the beer world, I'm assuming. Yeah, with you guys, what you guys are dealing with. Yeah, I mean, it could so overwhelming.
Yeah.
I give up my novice to these guys, and, I'm overwhelmed on what, and what the diverse, just from the IPAs alone, the diversity of the IPAs alone can really be somebody who's walking. I want to try an IPA. It's like, oh my God. Okay, what? This thing. So it's just like, that's what we try to do. We have a passion for what we do, and we have a passion for what our community and our customer base is here. So, and that's why we just try to dive into that and not overwhelm you. I guess, like we always say, don't overthink it. Just enjoy it and take your baby steps as long as enjoy the ride and go there. And then we just try to help you eliminate those mistakes things that you just don't like.
So, because my kind of reference point for tasting is with beer. When you taste beer, you're looking for aroma, flavor, texture, appearance. When you're tasting bourbon, where do you start? I guess is the best question I have.
For me,
and now I should mention that we're not just like theorizing here. We all have some bourbon in front of us and a nice little sampling. Branded glassware.
Brandon Glencairn's over here.
Well, what you're tasting right now is a private barrel of Tennessee whiskey, Jack Daniel's Tennessee. It's a single barrel that we did a collaboration with a local company.
Mike and Holmes.
Yeah, Mike and Holmes.
Yeah, some of our good customers, very nice people. But
we did a collaboration. Did a collaboration with them. So this is a Tennessee whiskey that it's a single barrel Jack Daniel's. Okay. So we pulled this one out to give you a little bit lesser proof, a little bit heavier mouthfeel, and then that kind of get your palate ready for some other stuff to come.
But the charcoal.
Yep, a charcoal filtering will give it a little bit more viscosity on the palate. So when you guys are drinking your beers and doing aroma and everything else, we're way ahead of you just like that doing as well. So there's definitely aroma. There's a beginning, a middle, and end on the palate. So the first thing I always do is smell it from left nostril to the right nostril, going back and forth, because it triggers both sides of your brain that would trigger certain things and what you're looking for.
Okay.
Then sipping, you drink your whiskey like you drink your red wine. You just sip it, never go back to the palate. You just sip it, put it on your palate. And so the first tip of your tongue is where the sugars are going to be coming from. then the back palate, whereas like what I would say, the middle and the end of the whiskey.
Okay.
So how long does it know? How long does that sip linger on your palate? Is a big trigger from me.
Okay.
You take a sip of a whiskey. How long does it dissipate off the palate? How long does it linger on the palate? So when I describe a whiskey, is it thin or thick? Some people use an analogy, but I've been sticking with it. So is it a thin whiskey or is it a thicker whiskey that lingers on the palate a lot longer? So for me, I like a whiskey that lingers a little longer on the palate. So one sip will last you 5 or 10 minutes, and enjoying it. So you don't have to just, keep sipping. So you can actually enjoy the whole ambiances of it. So then how does it finish? Everybody wants to use an analogy of being smooth. They're all liquids, so they're all smooth. It's just that
it's not a chunk going down your throat.
It's just that what we grew up with and how we were taught in the language that it is. We're looking for less of a burn on the end of the palate. Is how we can we all consider smooth is.
Smooth is not a good term in the whiskey world.
There's people that there's nothing wrong with using it. It's just that I try to let people know it's just looking at the burn, less of a burn. So right now you're drinking a 94 proof. So then I always tell people, it's like, does it taste 94 proof? In your opinion, does it taste 94 proof? And what you consider 94 proof?
Yeah.
So most people might not have the experience or drinking enough whiskey or drinking enough things that are.
I was going to say, I don't know if I have that reference point built in.
I
know it's good though.
Would you recognize?
Very good.
Would you recognize 100 proof? Would you recognize 90 proof off your palate? 100 proof off your palate? 110, 115, 120? Would you recognize those things off your palate?
Yeah.
So when you experience drinking and picking out barrels and stuff like that, you tend to learn what the palate proof balances are on your palate.
Okay.
And then what your expectations are for said proof, what you think is a good whiskey to pick or a good whiskey for yourself.
Yeah.
So if it tastes, this bottle says 120 proof. Does it taste 120? If it tastes 120 to you consistently, it's like, well, okay, maybe not 120 is not for you.
Yeah.
So I taste a 120 proof, and I look, and it tastes to me at around 110 or close to 100. Okay, that has some body to it. That has some things to it that's hiding the proof. So if the whiskey hides the proof more and more, and for my opinion, it has a little bit more legs on the whiskey. It just tends to linger longer. You can handle it longer on your palate. You can handle another. You can handle another.
You can see that one coming down right off the side there.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. So that's what you want.
Yeah,
I thought that was just an agreement that bourbon makers had with ZZ Top to sell more records. But it's really a thing. That's
but
cool.
that's your legs there. That
I was trying to get that.
It's the same thing with wine.
That's
it's
amazing.
The same thing
that's what you want, though.
What I like about this is it has, to me, a nice sweetness to it. It is, it's not too hot. It is easy drinking. Something you said that really kind of resonated with me is let it, one little sip can stay in your palate for a couple minutes. I don't think that's something people really understand. For sure with beer, I think, when I'm trying a new beer, I'll taste it. The first little sip kind of acclimate see how it feels on your tongue. But I'm never going minutes between sips, especially right after work because I'm usually quite thirsty. But but with this, as you were talking, I was like, okay, let's let this. I was trying to really think about what I was tasting and kind of the tip of the tongue, the middle of the tongue, the back of the tongue, kind of understanding that those are kind of like three different kind of taste, texture, flavor
profiles
receptors.
on your palate as they go. It's how you taste food as well. These are the different flavor points on your palate. So that's what I mean. Getting a 2-finger pour of a nice whiskey will last you an hour.
Yeah.
It depends on your mood, though.
Sure.
Depends on what you're doing and who you're hanging out with. All that wonderful things. And and another thing I've been saying to people forever is that your palate changes every day. The whiskey might change your flavor, on you every single day, and so that whiskey might taste differently to you tomorrow. And then I've had plenty of experiences doing that. One whiskey, an old Fitzgerald 12-year from like 10 years ago, I didn't like it. sitting at my house, and I said I brought it to the store, and I poured it for free for everybody. And then for some reason, it tastes great here. It didn't taste very good at home, but for some reason, it was tasting fantastic here. And
did you repaint the room after that?
No, I don't know. Yeah, that's when I really started recognizing it's like your mood, your palate, and everything changes. Mm-hmm. So it has a lot to do with how you approach it.
I think that's true for a lot of things. Yes. I mean, especially going to breweries. I've had really great experiences and really memorable beers at places. And then when I went back and had that beer, I'm like, this isn't as good as I remembered. But then I'm like, oh no, I was with a group of friends. It was a Friday, no real worries in the world. And that kind of elevated the experience for me. And I think that's definitely true with anything you drink. I think, so this to me, is pretty good. I like how it kind of like stays a little warm, but it's not hot. What is kind of like, one time I had a bourbon that was really hot. I'm guessing that was a higher proof bourbon.
You can only imagine that it is, but it really goes back to the individual and what they're doing that particular day. I've tried 90 proof whiskey and it burned me.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, okay. And I recognize it right away.
Yeah.
I was like, this is just hot for me today. For me, 120 proof is really nothing to me.
Yeah.
But certain days, oh yeah. So, and we do some sample pours here at this store with customers who want to try all of our private picks, which we always share no matter what, and then let people know it's like, it's 11 a.m. This is what you're sipping is 115.
Yeah.
A lot of times I try not to tell them ahead of time. So
you don't tell them that it's 11 a.m.?
Yeah, well, no. I don't tell them it's 115 proof because I'd rather see the look on their face or get their opinion on it without knowing the proof. And then I'll say, how does that, this is really nice. This is just like, well, there's 115 proof. Then I get the look, oh, wow. So that's just that they already, without knowing what the proof is, they're tasting it. Then it's like, does that taste 115? Then I go, no, not at all. So then it's not, then they dive into their own senses and then dive into their own palate and what they're thinking without even me saying anything.
Yeah.
It's like, this tastes really good at 115 proof. So it's always a analogy for me that I always use is like, the more bourbons you drink, the more rye you like. The more rye you like, the higher proof you go.
Okay.
And that's just seemed to be the trail of events.
Okay.
But we have customers here that just don't like the high proofs anymore. They're just done with them. They just don't want them, just don't handle them. Just don't want to deal with the burn. They don't want to water them down. They just want to sip their whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
And then they want to be comfortable without overthinking it.
Yeah.
So.
Now, proof is basically the percentage of alcohol doubled, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so a 90 proof bourbon would be 45% alcohol. Okay. You said, so there are kind of three, people are either drinking a spirit in a cocktail straight up with ice or with water, right? I'm guessing, I understand the ice to kind of just like give it a little bit of water slowly, kind of open it up. Explain to me the adding water. Why wouldn't you just do an ice cube?
Well, because brown spirits, for me, in my opinion, and everybody can drink their own as they wish, of course, but to me, in my opinion, to get the most flavor out of a whiskey, it should be drunk at room temp.
Okay.
Then adding drops of water to soften the edge, so to speak, of the whatever burn you're having that day can soften the edge. Then like Booker Noel, always he said, I think it was, don't quote me if I'm right or wrong, but he preferred a cube or a little bit of water on his whiskey. So there's no right or wrong for what you like to drink. I just try to get people to experience the spirit as for the most flavor profile that you possibly can get off the whiskey and or any other spirit in here. So I try to enjoy it as much, enjoy the spirit. It's like I always say when people are making cocktails, you don't hide the spirit of the cocktail. You still want to sip that gin martini. You still want to taste the gin. You still want to taste the vodka. You still want to taste the bourbon, no matter what the cocktail is. You still want a hint of that to let you know he's still drinking a cocktail. He's still drinking something. So that's what I always try to say. Don't hide the spirit. Enhance the spirit.
Yeah.
And that's what I try to do.
And so this particular Jack Daniel's you said was a barrel pick?
Yeah.
Talk to me about what that means.
Barrel picks are, you get an opportunity to pick out your own barrel, which is a private barrel. You pick out from samples of barrels that are presented in front of you. Either I go down to Kentucky, Tennessee, and pick them out at the distilleries, or they send me samples. And these are just individual barrel samples and if I try them all, pick out the one that I like the best, or if I don't like them, I don't like them. And if I like one that's just, wow, then I'll let them know I'll buy the whole barrel.
Okay.
So I get the yield of the whole barrel that they'll put in. It's their whiskey, their name on it.
Yeah.
Just that I personally picked out that particular barrel that I like, and they'll have our name on it. Then if I personally pick it out, I'll use the Mohawk name on the label as well to let people know I personally picked it out as well. So, and that's right down here. I do have samples. To give you an idea. Do you have samples? I'll give you an idea.
Oh, okay.
These are samples from Stellum, and I do have samples of the Jack Daniel's line of samples that they sent me, and I'll pick one out and hang. I get to hang on them, and I'm surprised they're still here. Yeah. But usually I take these home. But
them are probably the loser picks, though.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. The one,
not the one that we picked. Not the one that we picked.
The one that we usually pick usually gets finished off pretty quickly.
Okay.
But and that's. I think I've done close to 90 private barrels, and over the years, I trusted my palate. And I trusted some people, friends. Craig here, getting ideas of what they're looking for as well. If I'm stuck on a couple different samples,
sure.
Invite some friends of mine that I know I trust their palates and get an idea. But the final pick is usually what I ended up picking. Then that's what we also do is we take our private barrels, we get the barrels in itself with all the cases of whiskey.
Okay.
Then Craig here hands the collaboration of beer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we have I don't know how many have we done. Geez, 30 plus 40. I don't know.
More than that.
Yeah.
We probably done maybe 55 to 60 private beers.
Sure.
With local.
Yeah, I know
breweries.
you've done. I think one of the first times I was up at Lupulin.
Yeah, Lupulin. I think, and Matt's gonna kill me if I'm wrong with this. I think that was the original
one.
Barrel God, I believe.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right.
And I think that was I think that was our first one that we did.
I think it was Lupulin and maybe Waconia. We did the Driftwood.
Yep.
That was right around the same time, both of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny how it works out now. Like you have the barrel brokers and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more or less something like that is doing things just to be more fun for your customers, fun for the breweries. Like breweries are putting in a ton of effort just by adding an extra thing that they don't really need to add.
Right.
It's more fun. Develop a relationship with them. A lot of the breweries we do collabs with are friends.
Yeah.
So like we see them weekly or bi-weekly or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's just fun for our customers too. You give them something they're not going to get somewhere else.
Yeah.
You invest in them because you're like, you know what, and they invest in you. But we're going to try to do something really fun for you. We hope you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Same thing with the breweries. It's just really great that we have the opportunity to do it. Yes, please. It's a whiskey podcast, Stephen. We need some whiskey. But
okay, so Stephen is pouring a second sample. Now, what is? Okay. What is
this? Is a Wilderness Trail that we did a couple years ago, and this particular one is called Cotton. Does not have the Mohawk name, but this name stems from a rep of mine who worked in this distributor who facilitated these barrels for me. His name is Brady Cotton. he passed away about almost 2 years ago, for sure. About 2 years ago, after getting these barrels a sample sent.
Okay.
So I named the very first pick the best sample. I thought to represent him. So I reached down to them and I said, told them the story with my friend and told him what was going on. I said his last name is Cotton, so I wanted them to pick out the best samples that would represent that name, Cotton, something soft, something, So they sent me a bunch of samples, and I dedicated the first pick to him and his name. And his name is Cotton, Brady Cotton, and this is one of 2 wilderness barrels that we have.
Okay.
It's a sweet mash barrel, wheated bourbon. And so we decided to pour this one as the next one. I do believe this is at 113 proof. Another step up.
Okay.
And I really don't like telling people the proofs before they taste them, because I really like to have your own opinion on them.
Yeah.
And having that.
Although it's helpful for me to kind of know so that I
true.
can kind of like figure out.
I agree.
I mean, there's. So you said wheated bourbon.
Yeah.
Why have that?
This is my. It's a rye-based bourbon or wheated bourbon. First of all, it has to be 51% or more corn. Then that recipe really changes throughout the distilleries throughout the country. So when I say a wheated bourbon, when I reference that, it's the second grain of the bourbon.
Okay.
Then when I say it's a rye-based bourbon, it's rye is the second grain of the bourbon.
Okay.
So majority.
So every bourbon will have 51% corn
or more.
Yeah,
okay. Everything is
sure.
that or more, and then everything else, when they're explaining it, it's a tier. It's just like what if you look on the back of a recipe, ingredients on the back of something you buy at the grocery store.
Yeah.
Number 1 is going to be the corn, and then after that, the second in line will be whatever the predominant.
Yeah.
If it's rye, if it's
wheat or barley.
I guess we should have bourbon. In order for something to be labeled a bourbon, it has to. Does it still have to be from only Kentucky?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all.
That's what that's what I've heard. How do we?
But that used to be a kind of a thing, and that's what. But it's.
A lot of bourbons are made in all over the country, even in the early stages of this country. Going to Pennsylvania is a long history of whiskey making and bourbon making. So just that everybody recognizes it coming from Kentucky, the majority of all bourbons are still coming out of Kentucky. But there's so many small distilleries all over this country, even in the state of Minnesota. And Montana, Colorado. I mean, everywhere, almost every single state now has a distillery is probably making some bourbon.
Okay.
So
and even your Jay Carver's doing a great job. That's just in Waconia.
Yeah. A local distillery.
Hi to Gina. Out here if she's listening.
Hello, Bill.
A closed circuit to Gina. I'd love to come out and do a podcast. I've had some of your spirits before, and they're all wonderful.
So believe me, I can call her right now. She'll be over here in a second. So there's, there's so many different states that are doing so many different things. Indiana's a long, long, long history of bourbon making.
Oh, interesting.
It's like Seagram's is it's a history out of Indiana, which is now MGP, and I think they just changed their name just recently again. So there's a lot. It doesn't necessarily have to be from Kentucky, but there's certain rules that have to be implied for bourbon, and there's a lot.
Okay.
Of them, so new oak, charred new oak, 125% or less barrel entry proof. So. In a certain recipe, has to be 51% or more corn. So there's a lot of little rules that apply. In order just to be straight on the label, it has to be. It says Kentucky straight on the label. That has to be aged 2 years within the confines of that state to be called straight. There's Minnesota straight bourbon, but nobody usually uses it.
Okay.
Sour mash. Well, 90% of all these whiskeys are sour mash. Some decide to use it on the label, and some decide not to use it on the label.
Okay.
So there's really not that, like bottle and bond has to be from a bonded warehouse. You
want to explain the history of that?
Well, that goes back to a senator in Kentucky. He wanted to solidify his favorite whiskey, so he decided to put all a bill, I do believe. But don't quote me on the statutes and everything else. But
Sounds about right so far.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe you.
Yeah. So he wanted to protect his favorite whiskey, and
Okay.
So each warehouse has to be a bonded warehouse in order to be. Then it has to be 100 proof. So
That's
All
the
right.
bonded thing. That's the lowest entry you can be for that.
This bourbon that we've got now, it smelled, I know this is probably not the right term, but it smelled like more peppery than the first one. I don't know if there's probably no pepper in here, but like just kind of
Fresh ground pepper, we put it in this morning.
There it is. Bingo. Now I'm ready for some pastrami. The first sip seemed to have a little bit more going on, kind of like was really kind of really woke up my palate. And the second sip is I know you don't want to hear me use the word smooth.
Nice and smooth.
But I'm going to say smooth. This is interesting. It's not as sweet, and I'm trying to. What am I?
I don't know the exact recipe of this particular mash bill that they use, but it is a sweet mash, and it's a corn wheat. Then I'm not sure how much barley. Barley is somewhat of a sweeter grain as well.
Yeah,
it gives it more of a thicker feel. But the whole idea is a huge difference from the whiskey the Tennessee single barrel Jack compared to this.
Yeah,
there is a huge difference.
Yeah, they are really different.
The charcoal is going to mellow out a lot of the different other flavors. For what you had with the Jack Daniels, where this is going to be kind of more, I mean, not in your face, but a little more just up front about everything.
Yeah, it's also 10 points higher.
Yeah,
it's not as light as the first one.
But
intro to whiskey.
So, so the big difference between the first two sips of the Jack and this one, the first thing you're going to really notice is out the tip of your tongue.
Yeah.
On this particular whiskey is going to be really prominent. Where the Jack is more mid to late palate. And that will linger. Now this is just like boom, right off the tip of your tongue. It was going to get the majority of your flavors on this particular whiskey.
Yeah.
Even though it sits at 113 proof, that it really doesn't even hit the back of your palate. It's gone.
Yeah.
So notice how it's really gone. So there's really.
Yeah, it's back. It's the middle of my tongue. That's as far as it got.
It's finished.
Interesting.
Yeah. So so when you get into aged whiskeys, and we don't have a lot of really aged whiskeys. I can pour you Michter's 10 up here, where you can really see, and that's going to be at a lower proof as well. You really can see where the oak really influences a bourbon, and how it can really reflect the changes of the whiskey from mid palate to end palate.
Okay,
with a lot of age and oakiness on it. Yeah.
Do you just get way more barrel in that, or is it?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's a big trend going on right now in the bourbon world that a lot of them are pushing out under 6-year-old whiskeys, for sure, without question. They're doing it because they have to. They have to keep up with the demand, and they all know where the sweet spots of these rick houses are, where they can get the aging really prominent and expediting the aging on certain parts of their rick houses, hitting the sun. It's like they know that side is really aging quicker than the cool, damp on the other side. So the blending on whiskeys, the blenders nowadays are just doing an amazing job.
Yeah,
putting out a really consistent product with less younger whiskeys and still putting out the same product on a consistent basis. So give them all the credit, which is my dream job, is to be a blender. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much for listening. Hopefully you're enjoying A One Pint Stand. My aim is to help spread the word about craft beer. Enjoying craft beer is a passion of mine, and I love chatting about it with other people. A One Pint Stand has a goal of helping breweries tell their stories. I love to get out in and beyond Minnesota to visit breweries, beer bars, and meet other interesting beer people. If you are also into those things, you probably want to keep tabs on the show. So go ahead and follow A One Pint Stand on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We would also appreciate any and all positive reviews on Spotify and iTunes to help make it easier for other craft beer listeners to find us. If you like reading about craft beer, I started my own blog, and all of my writing can be found at aonepintstand.com. After 8 years of writing as editor-in-chief at Beer Pluma, it was time for me to start my own blog. So make sure you check out the blog for some interesting craft beer content of the written variety. I truly appreciate you listening and taking time to enjoy our stories. Now, back to the show. When I kind of first was getting into whiskeys, I really found myself gravitating towards Buffalo Trace, and I thought that it was a different kind of a value. I mean, I didn't have to pay $50. I could find it for, well, years ago, $25, $30. Now I can't find it at all. Why would a bourbon be available for a while here and then disappear?
It has a lot to do with the market, this particular market, the population of this particular market, compared to Chicago. Colorado is a huge whiskey market, so they've always got an influx, but other states are getting more and more and more. So while we are considered a flyover state to so many different people on the west side, east side of this country of ours, they're trying to convince Kentucky and all these major distilleries that, hey, we are a top 5 per capita whiskey consumption state. Per capita.
It's a business hub, too, though.
Yes, correct.
Look at Minneapolis. It's a major business hub, just like Chicago.
So we have to try to convince, and which is what I've been trying to do for 16 years, is try to convince the powers that be and the reps that be that we're still a really consistent whiskey consumer state. So. Trying to get more and more and more available products that are available in cases, more supply and demand. But the whole idea is that other countries are in supply and demand. Other states are in some more supply and demand. There's more drinkers in New York than there were before, more drinkers in California than there ever were before.
There's more whiskey bars that were never whiskey bars. Maybe they were a tiki bar last year.
Sure. California was never really a big bourbon state 16 years ago. And all of a sudden, the second most popular, number one popular state in the country is demanding bourbon.
Okay, and they have the money,
and they have the numbers, and the distillers are going okay, So it takes a little bit away from every single other market. So we have to fight and claw for what we get. It's just fighting like a small liquor store like me, where I used to get almost every single allocation by the cases of all the famous allocated whiskeys, and now I'm getting bottle here, bottle there, bottle here. So, that's why I do private barrels.
Okay, so allocated whiskeys. Tell me what that term means and how it has, you said you've been doing this for 16 years. Talk me through how allocated whiskeys have changed over the years.
Well, I used to get a phone call from a certain rep that would say, how many cases do you want of anything I wanted? It's from every single Pappy Van Winkle to the B-Tax, Buffalo Trace Antique Collections, to anything I wanted. I'll take a case, and no big deal. So the next following year, I give him a call. It's like, hey, I want to place my order. And he goes, nope. And he goes, I go, what do you mean, nope? And he goes, nope. And I go, what's going on? He goes, well, you get bottles. So what I used to do years ago is what now everybody's doing today.
Sure.
So, and that's over course of 16 years. So grocery stores are doing what I'm doing today. So just like all the big grocery store chains across the country are doing what I'm doing today. So now the competition is huge. So I can't compete against a grocery store. I can compete against huge liquor store chains that are demanding exactly what I was getting. So, and that goes back. So it's like, get your allocations. I have to hang on to them. And some I can put on the shelf here and there, and some there's no way I can ever put them on the shelf.
Putting on the shelf.
Nowadays, I really can't put anything really on the shelf anymore. And it's just like every liquor store right now, I don't know about grocery stores, but every liquor store that they're doing, it's like, well, now they're tracking your sales. And then it's like, okay, you get the first choice of what we get allocations. You get the second choice.
A lot of it is corporate. So if you say you're working for a corporation,
Oh, yeah.
And you're buying for a party. Well, that person is an individual going against you as a consumer.
Sure.
Well, they might spend $200,000 in a year.
Right.
I don't know what you make. I don't.
It's not $200,000.
So
I'm a
you're
teacher.
going, but that is somebody, and
Yeah.
that's very admirable. By
Yep.
the way, we have 2 teachers on staff here,
Nice.
John and Derek at
Nice.
the store. But you're going against corporate interests. You're going against the owners of the distributors. You're going against people in the industry before even us.
Yeah.
The
For sure.
drivers. You're going against.
yeah.
All these people are doing these different things to get onto what you want to get onto.
Sure.
So how do you put yourself a step ahead of the competition, as we can say? It's a tough thing, and I don't know if it's some people will drive to 20, 30 stores to look for a bottle of Eagle Rare or whatever, right? At the end of the day, what did you spend in gas? What did you spend in time?
Yeah.
What did you to get one bottle of something? Me and a customer used to, like back in the day when we were just bored, when I was younger, we would just drive. He was one of my buddies. We would, before I even started at Shorewood, we would drive to stores and you could find anything.
Yeah.
And we would just buy bottles and then we'd have lunch and we'd go home and sip something. Now it's like they'll do the same thing for like a bottle of Special Reserve Weller,
Yeah.
which is like a
crazy.
$27 bottle, 25, whatever. And they'll
That's
spend all
wild.
that time doing that. And it's like,
Yeah.
you have so many store picks staring you in the face at so many. I mean, there's a lot of great stores. Steve's not going to like me saying this, but no, but like South Lindell's great. 1010 Washington, a friend of ours. You have other stores where you can walk in and they curate their whiskey as good as us,
Yeah.
and they have great picks. And you don't have to look out for, I need Blanton's.
Yeah.
Like
No, it's just
I'm not a huge fan of Blanton's, anyways.
the big turn.
Yeah.
The big turn for me is when I was getting less and less and less, which is understandable. I understand the game, and it is what it is. But I've been doing private barrel picks since 2008.
Yeah.
And that was more personal. I thought it was more important to me to do a barrel pick than it was to get any other allocation. So I really concentrated on the barrel picks and try to get those and just because it's more of a personal thing, and the value has always been there. As like Craig mentioned, a couple other stores, and I always tell people the best values are store picks.
Yeah.
Then you trust. Find a store that you trust. Find a store that you know who's picking them out. And if you trust their palate and you know they're on a consistent basis and what they're getting, then that's great. And that's great. And that's what I tried to do. Is what I tried to build my own reputation on the palate and my palate and try to pick out the best barrels I possibly can. But I am also one that I'll turn down samples. I've turned down plenty of barrel picks. I've turned down Blanton's, Elmer T. Lee's back in the day. We had. We've had Pappy's open for free. We've had Handy's, Stags open for free. I poured Weller's for free just to get to educate people on the wonderful spirit of bourbons, the American spirit of bourbons. And so and I try to secure brands in the state of Minnesota. I reach out to Kentucky and talk to distillers about facilitating brands coming to Minnesota that weren't available to Minnesota or wasn't even on their radar.
Yeah.
And so doing the background work and trying to push for Minnesota and getting these allocations more and more and more and more. Then hearing from product reps that the battle's just not worth it, it's just not worth it, then I'll do it. Give me the person to call and I'll call.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've done that many, many times to help this market have more and more available whiskeys and so-called allocated. To me, a Blanton's not allocated. Eagle Rare's not allocated. Weller's not allocated. But according to the distributors, Ancient Age is allocated. So that's just up to that particular distributor. It's like, hey, we only have 20 cases, so it's under our allocation list.
Sure, they get to decide.
We only have 10 cases of Eagle Rare. That's under our allocation list. A lot of times the distributors use those as a carrot just to get me to buy not under their umbrella of products. It's a different umbrella of products. They want me to buy this particular line of products that have nothing to do with Sazerac, but they want me to buy this particular brand in order for me to get, an allocated whiskey in a different distillery, which is totally BS.
Well, right.
It's borderline illegal.
It's all pay to play, right?
Yeah, it's borderline illegal, but
Yeah.
it is. That's how it works.
Yeah.
That is the game we're in.
Yeah. So, obviously, we're right on the precipice of the holiday season. If somebody listening to this has somebody on their list who really likes bourbon, let's talk kind of, and I'll defer to you both because you're the experts. What are the different tiers of price points where people are usually kind of looking?
It really depends on each individual store and their demographics. So I'm tucked in a corner up here in a demographic world that is up and down from the top of the top to the medium. So it really depends on the individual. So I always, like I said, I always introduce myself. How are you doing? What you looking for? Who is it for? Is it gift giving? Do you know what they like to drink? What do you see at their bar?
Yeah.
I really try to dive in as much information as possible, so I can pinpoint something for them. Then it's like, okay, what kind of price point you want to stick with? Then then sometimes it's like, well, I don't have a $300 bottle of bourbon sitting on my shelf. It's just not going to happen. But I think I can say this.
There's not many that are available that you'd have on your shelf anyway.
So, but I can pinpoint something here and here and here, but then I hesitate to myself. It's like, but I don't know if they're going to like it. So try to give me as much information as you possibly can.
Sure.
Do you recognize any of these bottles that are on the bar? Do you recognize it? Remember them drinking anything in the past? Or how do you recognize how they drink it? So that's the whole idea. So it's the same thing. Anybody walking in here looking for a whiskey, it's like I really try to pinpoint what they're looking for.
But you're probably looking at 3 price points.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a present.
Yeah.
Entry level. If you're going over
Probably like the 30 to 40.
$35.
Yeah.
Mid price point, I'd say, for an actual whiskey drinker that's used to it, they're updated with everything.
Yep.
That $50 range is great.
Easy. Yeah.
And then you're at your aficionado, somebody who has been doing it forever.
Yep.
Like I said, we're mostly store picks, honestly. Price point,
correct.
Anywhere that 65 to 100.
Yeah.
For a present, unless you know really what they're looking for exactly, if you're stretching that $100, just my honest opinion is you're gonna, it's a coin flip.
Sure.
You're gonna buy them this expensive whiskey just because it's expensive.
Right.
Someone goes, I'm looking $150 to $200 range.
Yeah, a lot of times
but
the
if they're
same
not
with
in
wine.
it, but if they're not in it,
It's a
and
wine
they're not
analogy.
into that exact thing. That one person was looking for a Whistle Pig, one of the older ones, 15 or whatever, for her husband. And I said, what does he drink? And she said, well, he mostly drinks, cask strength bourbon. And I'm like, he might like it.
Yeah.
But there's a good chance you're just flipping the coin that it's going to be like a guest bottle.
So So if somebody says, okay, I really like, let's say Buffalo Trace.
Yep.
Okay, I really like Buffalo Trace. What's another? And I'm coming in at, let's say, because it's just like a specialty, like wanting to celebrate something.
Yep.
I'm turning 45 in January.
Yeah.
I'm looking to spend $80. If I like Buffalo Trace, what's a good comp that I'd be happy
Wild Turkey is better than Buffalo Trace.
Okay.
1,000 times of the day.
Okay.
So if you're using just regular Buffalo Trace as as a go-to for an $80 bottle, well, you're going to get yourself in a totally different realm of whiskey than just Buffalo Trace.
Okay.
It's like, if you like Buffalo Trace, I would say let's go sideways a little bit. Let's get you off Buffalo Trace. It is hard to find, but there's similar whiskeys. Knob Creek. If you can find yourself a Knob Creek, an age-stated Knob Creek, you're doing just fine.
Okay.
Four Roses, single barrel.
I like that too.
That's a high rye. They're known for a high rye bourbon recipe.
Okay.
So it'll be a lot more spice notes. then you can get into mixtures. It'll be a softer, a little more viscosity from that. So you don't have to just jump to a figure of $80 to $100
right.
off of Buffalo Trace, because you're just getting lost.
Sure.
You're going from
Well, this is what I want.
Yeah.
This is the conversation.
And this is a good transition right now because we just cracked open our Yellowstone private store pick here.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of people probably listening to this or will listen to this don't really know a lot about this whiskey. This is probably, besides the Stellum Rye cast strength, this is probably my favorite store pick we have in right now.
Okay. I like the aroma on this.
Funky, different. I think most people
this is a lot woodier than the other two.
Yeah, it's a little heavier in the mid palate, that's for sure. So this has a lot more legs on it.
Every single whiskey is a little different, but this is kind of cool because I think this one's light enough where, just on the palate, not smooth, but light enough where you could introduce this to a lot of different people, even though the proof is a little bit higher. Because I think almost every single person that I've poured it for, or Stephen or one of the other workers, has bought a bottle, just automatic off the tasting.
This is it to me. It's woodier, and then I'm getting like a really nice kind of orange peel, kind of like a citrusy kind of flavor.
A lot bigger mid palate on this one.
Wow, this is really good. So I'm really excited because this is the third new bourbon for me. I've had regular Jack Daniels, but not anything that tasted like the first one. I have not had the second one, the Wilderness Run, before. That was good. And this is, you said Yellowstone?
Yellowstone, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a Yellowstone 115 proof. But
now, how much does this run for a liter?
60s?
I think this one is 64.
Okay.
Mid to high 60s. It might be mid to high 60s. Yeah.
This is really good.
You're not going to miss out drinking any, Yellowstone makes some great products, but like this is, I think, ridiculous for what you get, actually.
And this, you said this is a store pick?
Yeah. This is a personal pick as well. This is another Mohawk pick.
Yeah, Stephen went down to Kentucky with a couple of our clients here at the store, and then some reps and things, and they had a good. I
went down there to pick out actually my initial fight to go down there to pick out a barrel was the Rebels. So that was my main objective, is to get the Rebel whiskey pick with the long history of the Rebel whiskey. So. Then they go, you want a Yellowstone? I go, hell yeah.
Yes.
And then they go, you ever interested in Ezra Brooks? I go, hell yeah.
Yes. Cast strength, yes.
So I ended up going down there to pick 4 barrels. I'm the only one down there actually picking more than one. So then I drove down there and met some people down there and had a good time, but it was a really quick turnaround. You get there 11 o'clock in the morning and you stay for, 36 hours and you're out of town. So it was a very long 36 hours picking out 4 barrels. But it was I love Kentucky. I love going down there and just getting on the phone with some friends of mine down there too as well. So it's always
and they do have taxi service or Uber.
I was being driven around everywhere.
Yes.
I wasn't.
Thank God.
They give you the VIP when you're down there.
No, I was not driving anywhere. Just so no. So they taxied me everywhere I needed to go, and
wow.
Yeah. So that was very kind of them.
And they feed you pretty well down there too.
Yeah. Well, I fed myself. But no, they take really good care of you. Yeah, the distributor took us out to dinner, and it was very nice. So we had a great time. Libation Spirits is a wonderful, So
who was that, Stephen?
Libation Spirits. A great local distributor here. So we support them very much, and they support me very much. So we love them.
Yeah, we carry most of their catalog. Yeah, for sure. But they're very niche-y too. They carry only the better.
Great people, fantastic people. From
great people, but they
bottom.
also they curate their list of what they actually want to carry, opposed to what's going to just sell automatically.
They facilitated all this for me, and I was very grateful to get that opportunity. Then meeting everybody down there, and the owner was very, very generous. To say the least, of taking care of all my needs down there for sure.
I think it's tremendous that you can get a bourbon that is this delicious for $60-$65.
They're all over the place.
That's incredible.
Yeah, they're all over.
This is sensational.
And it's not something you have to drive around the city for.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing we try to at least do now. Let people know, and it's not that, hey, we don't have that. You can say that, somebody can call and say, hey, do you got Eagle Rare?
Yeah.
We can say, hey, we have a lot of great private picks. It saves people time. They come in, they don't know what this is.
Yeah.
And they try it, and they're like, oh, my God. Like, why did I not have this option before? Like,
well, the funny part of it is that there's such a tunnel vision for one particular distillery nowadays, and I see it all over every social media, of all the bourbon groups that I'm involved with here and there. So it's all tunnel vision. Look what I got. It's like, hey, that's great. That's great. I'm glad you enjoy it.
Yeah.
But if I'd love to do a blind taste test on you. I'll do a blind taste test on anybody, but then again, they can do one on me too, and I'm there's no doubt in my mind that I might fail on that one as well.
Sure.
So it's just that there's other whiskeys out there. Just try to open the door a little bit and get an idea that there's fantastic whiskeys out there, and there's a wealth of rye whiskeys out there that are just sitting on the shelves.
Yeah, you're probably
you're
probably looking at on just our shelf, and we're a medium-sized store for a whatever. I would say on our shelf right now, we probably have 50 or so better or whatever than what you're looking for of bourbons.
Okay.
And rye is probably even more than that, just because ryes don't need to technically age as long. In my opinion,
they can age longer. They can maintain the age longer.
But they can. But a 5-year rye
still good.
Is close to perfection for me. And this is my choice, Stephen, obviously.
Exactly.
But people look at a name, they look at I'm used to this.
Yep.
And I think a lot of times they get burnt by other stores. And I think that's where they come back to their nothing. There's nothing wrong. Obviously, Buffalo Trace kills it.
Oh, yeah.
They don't make bad whiskey.
Oh, no. No doubt.
But they also, they're in a group of, 4 or 5 distilleries that have been around for, how many years. And you're telling me that the competition, like Four Roses, Heaven Hill, Wild Turkey, all these places don't have similar or better whiskey? And that's what I try to explain to people. Sure. Love Buffalo Trace products.
Oh, they're all wonderful.
But I'm a Wild Turkey guy.
Okay.
Love it. Love Wild Turkey. Where I grew up, a lot of people kind of frowned on the Wild Turkey 101. Maybe taking shots or something when they were younger.
Oh, sure.
It's like we all grew up with Jack, then we leave Jack, but then we come back to Jack
after the.
Oh my God, that's really good.
And they got.
I was going to say I've not had Jack Daniels
like that.
Usually, like if I'm on Jack and Coke, that was like a drink I would order back in the day.
I'll still do a Jack and Coke every once in a while.
Yep. Drink Coke.
Americana right there.
Yeah.
So there's so many other things to choose from. There's nothing wrong with what you like. If this is what your flavor profile is, and that's it, put it this way: there's other products that Buffalo Trace makes and Sazerac make that are just as good or even better.
Sure.
Most people never heard of Rock Hill Farms, but that's 1,000 times better in my opinion than Blanton's, any Blanton's put together.
Okay.
So it all depends on what you like. I think Blanton's and Eagle Rare are at that 90 proof point, 93 and 90 proof, that's that sweet spot that a lot of people have. And
it's good. It's good for a lot of people. Easy drinker, nothing too crazy.
Yeah. Sure.
Really good, solid bourbon.
And Blanton's like 8 or 9 years old, where Eagle Rare is close to 10 nowadays. 10 nowadays. It's probably going to get that number's going to disappear for probably in the next couple of years.
I think most age statements.
Yeah, but the whole idea that they have that stronghold on it, on that flavor profile with a nice age on it,
So if somebody's shopping for bourbon, they need to do some investigating for the person they're shopping for to figure out what they like.
Yes.
And then once they know that, then they can come have the conversation with you, and you can point them in the right direction.
For sure. We have a lot of people. My husband likes Blanton's. I go, don't have it. Okay, well, thank you. Have a good day. Can you give me a call when you do get it in? I just said, I'm not going to do that either.
Yeah.
And I was like, why is that? I go, it's like, well, the little that I do get, I have to personally hand out to my most loyal customers.
Yep.
And then that's it. Then that's there's no question about that. I have to do that. Take care of the people who take care of
the people who keep the lights on. But it's not even. I think a lot of misconception in the industry. is whoever throws the most money at somebody is the one who gets whatever.
Well, I know liquor stores will do like, hey, in order to have access to these special things, you have to come spend a certain amount, and then you get,
which
like,
in our state you can't really
they track your sales.
You can't legally do that in this state. You can do like a shopper's reward program.
Sure.
Yeah.
You can't say like, hey, if you buy this, this, and this, I'll sell you this. That's you can't
love
do that.
those raffles too. Those pay for raffles.
Yep. I've seen those as well. That's interesting.
But yeah, it's a thing where I think naively a lot, because most people aren't, they're at their jobs, they're with their kids. They don't know how this side of it works, which is kind of cool that you came in here to chat about it.
Oh, I've already got 3 more podcasts in my head that I want to come back for. It's
a fun thing.
I'm learning so much.
You get to learn. We get to kind of learn this side of it too. It's but a lot of times people think they come in. The worst thing, I think there's 3 things you don't want to do when looking for, and this wasn't on the sheet, but don't call places and ask, do you have Blanton's?
Right.
It's not anything against the workers or the owners or whatever. It's when you get 50 calls every day and then you have your normal clientele asking for it. It just doesn't bode well. You're never going to win. Those days are over. Mm-hmm. I think number 2 is have a couple spots where you shop. Maybe you buy a 6-pack of beer. Yeah. You buy a bottle of wine. You buy whatever. Before you ask for different allocated items and different things, chat with the workers, chat with the owner.
Yeah, create that relationship.
Get the relationship. Correct. Because if you just walk into a place and you say, hey, got any Eagle Rare? Understand that we've been asked that how many times in just one day. And we're a tiny store. I can just imagine like Evil Empire. We all know what that is. Yep. But how many times, and those are innocent workers too, like how many times in a day they're asked that same question. I don't think a worker who is, I don't want to say harassed, but is going to be very friendly when it comes up to a point where they actually have a bottle. Yeah. I think the other one is, like, buy the store picks, get to know the staff, and it's not about how much money you spend. It's about a relationship. Yeah. I want to know that you're not just driving to 30 stores after this, asking the same question. Yeah. I'm not in a cattle herd. Treat me like a human. Be nice.
Be a loyal customer at a store that you know is taking care of your needs at craft beers, wines, and or bourbons. And if you know the store has a nice bourbon selection and they do store picks, then get to know the person who's buying the store picks. Get to know the person who's picking them out. Get to know, and just be that regular face. And that's basically what I've been doing here. The big change over the past 16 years is, and we stopped doing raffles, and we just started personally handing out the bottles. Instead of telling people that we have these bottles, we personally hand them out to the people that we know that would appreciate them, not flip them. They're going to drink them, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, the thing with raffles too is, and this is from a personal level, I used to go to them, early on in my career or whatever. And then after a few, you just see the same 50 people at every single one. And nothing against, maybe somebody, I met some really great people in line. The majority are just looking to make a buck.
Yeah. And see, that's ridiculous. That's crazy.
And it's the same thing it was with beer. And I've got some crap online for it. And I'm just like, you know what? You're not helping the brewery, the distillery, whatever, by buying something with a credit card, flipping it online and shipping it to L.A. or Manhattan or whatever. Right. That's not helping them. It's giving somebody something access to, like a super elite. You're giving them access to something at an escalated price, but you're not actually helping out the way you think you're helping out. Yeah. You're buying a product that everybody wants.
Well, and I think an important thing to say, and I would hope that most of the people listening to this podcast understand this, but your dollars spent at a local indie store means so much more.
Oh yeah, yes.
So when possible, please shop local. Please shop at the places where you have the relationships, because that means that those places will be here and sustainable for a long while. So
I was just going to add on that too.
Yeah.
So the thing, Steve was going to chat, but I had a moment, I think, and I had a little brain.
Epiphany.
The thing too is that's cool is like, especially with us, and I'm sure there's a lot of other independents or smaller liquor stores. When I get my money, paycheck here, right?
Yep.
I'm going to Lupulin. I'm going to Broken Clock. I'm going to Jay Carver. I'm going to Shram Vineyards. I'm going to these places. Like I literally go to these places weekly.
Yep. Well, especially now when it's so hard for those places.
You're taking that money though, instead of giving it to, who the name is, 20% of that automatically goes right to corporate. It doesn't even hit your area, not even remotely.
Right.
We can take the money that we get also from selling a lot of these better products. We can go into, we have some amazing hot sauces, Lost Capital, Salsa Collaborative, amazing people.
Yeah.
We can invest in them and sell them here as well.
Yeah.
So not only are we helping ourselves, we're helping the local other economy, we're actually boosting sales and things that that might not move in a lot of stores.
See, we concentrate on Minnesota craft beers as much as we can, and we try to carry almost every single one that we have space for, and that's up to Craig to find these spaces that we need for all that. And that's been a main thing. When Craig took over all the craft beer, I said, just concentrate on Minnesota. He goes, oh, yes. It's like the same thing on my end of it as well.
Yep.
It's like on all the Minnesota distilleries who I help and consulted for a few, and talking to them directly, then I try to carry as many as their products or all their products as best I can.
Yeah.
And I actually try to take a lower mark on them and try to support them as much as I can too. But so that's what then even like 16 years ago we were a destination store with all of our bourbons and whiskeys and spirits and then craft beers and going forward. But now we're concentrating on our own community. So we concentrate on our own people who are surrounding us and support them as much as we can. We do as much charity work that we possibly can here. So we just opened a month ago. It's like, we'll get there. We'll catch up.
It's a little tough to get to everybody.
Yeah, we'll catch up with the community, and the community is very supportive. The city loves us, and we're so we're trying to do that as much as they can as well. So, but the next whiskey I just poured for you. Let me.
Yeah, I was gonna. So I want to add before you explain the whiskey. Now I've noticed this. Each time before you pour, you have been vigorously shaking the bottle.
Yes.
Talk to me about why that might be important.
It's something that I do. I don't know if there's so many other people that do it, but I'm trying to get everybody to do it. Everybody I talk to is that I shake every single bottle that I drink. That's including wine
with the cap on, folks, not just like spraying it all over.
You shake the beers too?
I don't shake the beers. But the only thing I don't shake is beer. But I shake all my wines. I shake all my spirits before I drink them.
Okay.
And I vigorously shake it. Liven up the molecules, just liven up that spirit.
Okay.
Trust me. Do it.
Okay.
Did Bill Nye show you this on the science show?
Like,
I was told there would be no math. I don't.
It's just like there's I have my nerdiness, geekiness, bourbonic, whatever you want to call me. There's certain things that I do.
Yeah.
And you should watch me pick out barrel samples and how and what I do when I do all that kind of stuff. So there's a certain routine that I do and certain things that I do before I drink anything, but Craig here won't let me bring out my whiskey glass, so this is not my whiskey glass.
We are not doing that.
But I don't wash my whiskey glass.
Oh,
I have a whiskey glass I had at home. I do not wash.
Okay,
so
interesting.
It's a brown tiered system. So, but it's okay. There's a reasoning to my madness. And so I want my senses to tell me when I'm supposed to drink. So I trust my own senses and what I drink.
We do the same in the beer realm. We don't wash our pint glasses, right?
That's right. I don't even own a dishwasher at home. As a matter of fact.
So, anyways,
I don't even wash my clothes.
Nobody else touches my glass. But I shake all my glasses, lavin it up. Just
Okay,
because it enhances for me in my own senses. It enhances my nose, enhances the nose, enhances everything for me.
Okay.
So I always
good to know that. That's a good tip.
It's just a habit of mine. So I go from one nostril to the other, and I just I'd probably drive people crazy looking at me drinking whiskey.
So what is this?
This is a private pick of Rebel. It used to be called Rebel Yell, but now it's called Rebel.
Okay.
Out of the Lux Row.
Wow.
So this is a original, and it's debated. I don't know if Steve debates me.
What's that?
The original Stitzel Weller mash.
It's one of the. It originally came from Stitzel Weller, but it's been changed hands over the years.
Yeah.
And,
so that's kind of like the mash bill a lot of the whiskey geeks look for.
Okay.
So this is the reason why I went down there.
Okay.
This is the barrel that I wanted.
I can see why.
This is the barrel I wanted. This is the reason why I went to Kentucky. I wanted a Rebel pick.
The reason that this is still here, I don't know. Everyone's looking for Buffalo Trace.
This is the first pick of the Rebels that I picked out, and I just remember getting there this is the first sip I've had in the tasting room at Lux Row. Then I tasted it. I go, done. He looks at me. What do you mean done? I go, I'm done. I'll take this one right now. And he goes, that was your first sip of the first one. I go, yep. I'm taking this one right now. And
wow.
He goes, what about the others? I go, if the others are better than this one, then I'll take all two. I'll take three.
Yeah.
And then he goes like, I'll take this one right now. So obviously tasting that right now, I was like, yeah. It didn't take me.
Really
it took
good.
me 1
And
second
so
to pick
different.
this pick.
Yeah.
It's delicious. So, yeah, that is 120 proof. So that's why. What do you think of that? 120 proof.
So that's funny. I'm glad we didn't start with this.
Yeah.
But ramping up.
Correct.
There's a kind of like almost I want to say kind of nutty, almost like a caramelized sugar nuttiness to this that where with the previous one, it kind of like started off woody and went to kind of like the citrusy orange peel. This is really good.
You're better at this than I am because I hate reviewing whiskeys. I
like saying I like this one a lot.
Yeah. So
I hate
this one has some fig undertones and whatever.
I hate making up fruits that don't exist. It's like
a fig. To my benefit, a fig is a thing. It is.
No, I know. I get it.
They wrote a Christmas song about it in pudding.
Yeah, it's just like I said, it changes every day. But this immediately hit my palate, and I knew right away this is a really good barrel.
Yeah.
And I did another one right after that with friends of ours of the store that we did a collaboration with. And they're both delicious. And
they're actually Ultra Metal is right across the street from Lupulin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Lupulin, they are customers of ours, and they literally just touch base about going to.
That was all through you. This is a surprise. This is a surprise to me.
I think we were drinking whiskey in the back, so they were hanging out. They're really good customers, and they're like, yeah, if you ever come up to Big Lake, let me know. And I'm like, I'm up in Big Lake all the time.
No, but they're really. David is a friend of mine now, so we made some really personal relationships throughout this trip, and they've been hugely supportive of us, and we couldn't be happier with their input and what they're doing for us.
But that was the whole point. Is that's the second pick?
Yeah, it's the second pick. But people have been going back and forth with them, so that's wonderful. So so that's great. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is fantastic.
Yeah, isn't it?
That's really, really nice.
I just said Lupulin too.
Lupulin.
I was thinking about Lupine that's closing.
Oh I saw that. Yeah, this is really good.
Is it? Yeah.
So give me. I know that like a lot of people, they know about the big distilleries and the big brands. Give me some names of some bourbons that you feel like are maybe flying under the radar, or maybe don't get the due that they deserve.
It really depends on who's your listeners are and what they're going through and what
You're just
they're
looking
doing.
for quality.
Yeah,
quality.
So the quality,
quality local.
There's like Smooth Ambler. They're very little in this market, but they're doing fantastic things. And I love supporting all the Minnesota distilleries, and I love having people show up at Minnesota distilleries and just really having some fun there and trying to really take in the spirits as much as they can. So I'm a Far North fan, like Jay Carver fan.
Yeah.
And getting to know all the other local distilleries.
Tattersall's good. We like a lot of Tattersall.
They moved to Wisconsin. You know. But they're really good, great people. So yeah, so they
we like the Scotty friends.
Yeah, we do. I'm just teasing them.
It's always. I mean, I think it's always good. You know, the known entities are the known entities, but sometimes it's fun to kind of discover something new or something that's exciting and that people aren't talking about.
In our climate and how new the whiskey world is. Like, it's going to take a while.
Oh, sure, yeah.
It's not something where like people, you're not going to walk into a distillery
right
and match, you know, Buffalo Trace or Wild Turkey day one.
No,
it's going to take years.
There's no way you can get it without the cooperage.
But even how many trials and errors did they do in their lifetime?
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
To build that up. And you have to understand, if you're looking at in aspects of like monetary value, right?
Yeah.
To start a brewery, and I'm glad that we have the video here so people can see my hand. To start a brewery costs this.
Yep.
To start a winery costs this.
Oh, yeah.
To start a distillery that is going to make a ton of money, it's through the roof.
Yeah, Craig is getting out the ladder now.
And we have vaulted industrial ceilings in here.
Yeah.
It's a totally different one.
I would
and you have to, and the time too.
Here, the biggest thing when it comes to distilleries is my analogy when I talk to local distilleries and talk to people around is if you get good cooperage and you get a consistent fine yeast. That's the pizza in the sauce of. You know, pizza crust and a sauce of a pizza.
That's the perfect analogy too.
So if you get the yeast and you get the cooperage, you got a head start. You know, it's funny because when I go down to Kentucky and do your visits and have some fun, I recommend you going down, hitting the trails, having some great times down there. It's a beautiful country. But if you hit the distilleries and you ask them a question, here's a question I always want you to ask, and we'll see if there's only one distillery that ever told me the answer to this question. I go, where do you get your yeast? And every single distillery will tell you, well, we're just not going to answer that question. We're just not going to give you and there's only one distillery that has ever answered that question. That's Jack Daniels. And Jack Daniels will go, oh, yeah, walk 2 blocks to the left and take a right. And there's our building right there. We make our own yeast.
Sure, yeah, of course.
Yeah, so... And that's,
but not too many people have that ability to do.
No, there's nobody has the ability of Jack Daniels, So that's the Capitol Hill of all distilleries in the world is Jack Daniels,
and that's Mr. Jack Daniels.
That's Mr. Brown Foreman who owns Jack Daniels. But the whole idea is and that's the epitome, the top of the top of every single distillery. Every distillery in the world who wants to be a distillery, Jack is number one, and there's number 2 floating down there somewhere.
They made their claim with United States. Nothing is more American than Coca-Cola. So a Jack and Coke, they got it right off the bat.
Yeah,
and you can't fault them for that.
Oh no,
that's all blending whiskey. So. When you probably tried that, if we didn't tell you that was Jack Daniels, you probably would have.
I would have thought it was like something. Off the top
something
shelf.
in the lock case.
Yeah, but that is so important to know that you. There are good whiskey. You can have a really fantastic bourbon experience, and you do not need to take out a second mortgage.
Hell no.
And you also don't need to truck chase. You don't need to go to 100 stores.
There's the whole line of Old Forester sitting on this shelf.
Oh my God, yeah, every single one.
From the 100 proof, which is it's like Fred Mimic number 1 value bourbon in.
Shout out to Fred.
The Prohibition series of it's and they're sitting on the shelf, just sitting there. Here's one right here. I opened.
Oh, we got the 1920. The
I opened it
1920.
because
sure.
the label was scratched up and damaged. So of course I'm going to open it. But
Well, yeah,
this
you
is
can't have that on the shelf.
This is
Be
this is
embarrassing.
everywhere. This is everywhere. So
Yeah.
and it's a fantastic. All these are available.
That entire series.
The whole line, and
Okay.
I'll put this. I'll put this up against any Eagle Rare.
That'll go up. That'll go up versus honestly though. That'll go up versus most whiskeys.
Yeah.
Period.
Sure.
No, for sure.
Not just stuff on the
Like
shelf.
I said, we're not
Like,
bashing Buffalo Trace here. They make amazing products, and
Sure.
they're just doing just fine. They make it,
you can find
there's other products out there that are
Yeah.
just as amazing and on there on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to say.
And it's similar to beer too, because I think that everybody there's the hype breweries that people latch onto, and they become the be all end all. And just in Minnesota alone, if you're willing to take a little bit of a drive, you can find some phenomenal breweries that are doing some phenomenal things. I mean, back in the day when Surly Darkness would come out and people would chase that truck around. It's like, you can do that.
Yeah.
But, hey, go down the street to Bad Weather and try their barrel-aged Calamity.
Oh,
that
my God.
is
Yeah, that's delicious. Yes.
Amazing.
Love it.
And
love it.
you don't need to, you just go there.
It's about getting people into a different avenue of thinking.
Yep.
Where you put something on a pedestal. It's like, the analogy for me is everyone, I grew up, I was an 02 kid, 02 graduating class.
Yeah.
But like everyone looks at like, hey, they want to date the prom queen or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you realize later in life that there's a lot of like really awesome things in your life that you missed out because you looked at this one thing for a brief moment.
Yep.
Like the thing that, like the Pappy would never talk to you.
Right.
But Old Forester.
That should be on a shirt.
Yeah. But like Pappy was a person.
Yeah.
He probably wouldn't talk to you.
Yeah.
But there are like Old Forester. He's gonna probably have a nice chat with you.
Yeah.
Jack Daniels.
Yep.
The turkey's gonna be wild. He's gonna have a nice dinner with you and your family.
Yeah.
There are so many avenues that people are missing, and like I said, I try to reiterate this. It's not about trying to sell things we have here.
Right.
Like we have everything open. If you want to try it, go for it.
Yeah, we don't hide. We don't hide any of our private picks.
Yeah.
People are missing the point of whiskey and the point of everything. Like, don't just buy something so you can have it.
Yes, that's
buy it
important.
so you can share it.
Yep.
Buy it so you can open it.
Yeah.
Buy it so you can open it.
Well, and just
all this was invented to be shared and shared stories and have some laughter and
this right here.
This beer was.
Oh my God, this is so fun.
Yeah, the beer was invented. The whiskey was invented. All these spirits were invented for this reason, to have some fun and share some stories and laughs.
But they're not there so you can sit there and. It's cool to have some bottles. I don't have any kids, but if I have a kid, I'd say, hey, you know what? When they graduate college, it's cool to have that bottle. What is the What is the point of gathering all these things?
Yeah.
Is it for?
I think it's that people like to collect stuff and they like to have stuff, and it's like you got to move away from that. Is like focus on what it's for. Kind of like you were saying. It's like all of this stuff was created to bring people together. And I think
the whole industry, this whole industry was literally the base.
Yes,
and that's what draws me to it. That's what draws me to craft beer, and what draws me to bourbon is like I want to sit down, have something to drink while I'm spending quality time with quality people,
or meeting
exactly.
meeting a new friend.
Yep,
exactly.
You're going to a spot. You're by yourself. You're wasting some time. You might meet this amazing person that you never knew, and now that's a lifelong friend.
It's funny how you bring that up because you're sitting in my tasting room here in the store and I have really close friends. The very first time that I ever met them was here at the store, and sharing. I'm a passionate person initially, but I'm a passion for bourbons and spirits like this, and we share these stories and have some fun and exchange numbers, and we're friends 10 years later, friends 10 years later. And then I looked at these people, I go, well, yeah, you're a customer, but I look at you as a friend first. When I see you, I talk to you about how you doing, how your kids, how, I don't even talk about this store. I don't talk about any kind of spirit or bourbon or beer. It's just I created friendships just by sharing spirits, just by sharing bourbons and sharing stories and sharing a beer and sharing that. And that's even what happened here at the store in this tasting room, just to get to know these people over the years. But if it wasn't here to be at my home or whatever it may be. But yeah, we built a long-lasting relationships with our customers and the community here, and this is what we're really proud of. And
Shorewood, Excelsior, they're the best people. And it's not just about, hey, you're in a good area, there's some money here, and I get told that all the time.
Yeah.
When I started here, we were 99% rural. This was the swamp side of the lake.
Sure.
There was not the influx of money. 99% of the customers that we had back then are still here. We added on to that with some new development.
Yeah, so we were a destination store, and now we concentrate on the people around us, and we'd love to have people come and see us for obvious reasons. We'd love to have anybody come and see us, but I'm just a loss for words, and it'll get me thinking about other things, and it's like getting all sentimental. But I love where I'm at. So we're love to be open, and we're just very happy to be here at the moment. And so we'll get there. We're going to rebuild and have some really fun times here. So.
Well, I think this has been a tremendous experience. The store, when I walked in, I think it's a beautiful store. It's a beautiful store. This back area is really cool. Your hospitality. Thank you so much for having me. This has been wonderful. So we're going to kind of wind up here, but so as you've been listening, if you are somebody who is well into bourbon or you're just getting started with bourbon, make the relationship with the store. If you're out here, come to Shorewood if you haven't been. Obviously, it's a special place, and you'll have a special experience. But also, maybe get away from the idea that spending more money will equal a better bourbon experience. You really do need to personalize it and figure out what you like. And then once you're armed with that information, you can come into Shorewood and make a really educated purchase for whether you're buying for yourself or you're buying for another special person or a friend.
We just want everybody to leave here feeling satisfied and happy, because everybody here who works here, I'm lucky to have, we all have a passion for what we do. Craig here has a passion for what we do. I have a passion, and all the other employees that you haven't met yet care about the store, care about how it looks, care about everybody walking in here. So we just love people leaving, good, I get what I wanted, and feeling good about themselves.
Yeah, because that doesn't always happen. Like a lot of times, like the liquor store experience can go many different ways. But I feel like as our conversation has unfolded, it is the one thing that is really clear is how much you both care about who's walking in and what sort of an experience that they're having, and that shows very well. So
100%.
I just took the words out of my 100%. This is what we do.
Yep.
This is what we do.
So I want to thank you both for having me. This has been another on-location episode of A One Pint Stand out here at Shorewood Liquors. And say again the bourbons that we had, because they started good and then kept going up from there.
Yeah, I think they're all just totally different bourbons or whiskeys. So the first pour that we did, the Jack Daniel's Private Selection by Steve, that was a collaboration with Mike and Home Builders. They're actually customers of ours. They make custom homes around the area here.
Okay.
Really cool dudes. Jonesy and Mike, hi, if you hear this. The second one, we have a Wilderness Trail. This is a wheated bourbon.
Okay.
A little higher proof. This is the Cotton Barrel, so this is in respect of our good friend Brady Cotton. That's another bourbon that's a really good choice, a wheated one. Steve's trying to get the bottle here. Next one, I think this might have been your second favorite.
Favorite. This Yellowstone I really like. This is the one that had like the woody and the orange peel.
I call it a funk bomb. It's very different than a lot of whiskeys we have here. this, if it wasn't for the Stellum Rye, which I didn't think we got to, this would be my favorite one.
Okay.
Last one was the Rebel. So this used to be called Rebel Yell.
Well, that's fantastic. I want to thank you both for taking time. I know the holiday season has got to be a busy time for you all, and I have just really enjoyed how much I've learned. Your expertise is so awesome. So, but yeah, this was wonderful. So thank you both so much. Again, we're here at Shorewood Liquors. You have to come in. You have to come in and see this place if you haven't been. If you know this place, you know of what I speak, but this is a very special spot in the Twin Cities. So this has been another on-location episode of A One Pint Stand. Cheers, gentlemen.
Thank you.
And with that, we are at the close of another episode of A One Pint Stand. I hope that you enjoyed that deep dive into the depths of Stephen's knowledge about bourbon. It was my first time visiting Shorewood Liquors, but it will definitely not be my last. I became quite smitten with their bourbon selection, and I didn't even really spend much time looking at the beer, which I will remedy in the future. Stephen is the perfect person to guide your selection of bourbon, and I highly recommend you check out Shorewood Liquors to see the wondrous bourbon selection for yourself. I want to thank Stephen and Craig for taking time. It was a wonderful chat. I hope you learned a lot. I certainly did. I even picked up a bottle of the Yellowstone Barrel Pick that we were drinking because I thought it was absolutely exquisite. So if you know where I live, come over and try some. I hope you enjoy your holiday season, and will join us back here after the new year. This almost marks 1 year to the day that I started A One Pint Stand as a standalone creation. The numbers don't lie. People are finding the podcast and even liking the podcast. I have some wonderful content lined up for 2024, and I hope you're going to join me for the plethora of stories, both beer and otherwise. I hope to continue to amplify and give voice to all sorts of wonderful people in and around the craft beverage landscape. However, none of that is possible without you all taking the time to listen and share out the show like you have been. I am humbled and grateful that you have embraced A One Pint Stand the way that you have. So until next time, this has been A One Pint Stand, a Minnesota craft beer podcast where the pants stay on, but the caps come off. Cheers.
It has a little bit more legs on the whiskey. It just tends to linger longer. You can handle it longer on your palate. You can handle another. You can
see that one coming down right off the side there.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. So that's what you want.
Yeah,
I thought that was just an agreement that bourbon makers had with ZZ Top to sell more records. But it's really a thing. That's